The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Different lineup tonight. It's myself, Chris, as always, joined by Decker, and Daryl has joined us tonight for our Monday night show. Daryl, how are you, mate?
Canny, aye. Bit of a block nose, but otherwise spot on.
Is that canny just because you're a Newcastle fan at the moment and you just live in the dream?
Why, aye? Who isn't?
Why I?
Why I? Why I?
Love that shirt, by the way.
Oh, it's a new one. Well, I'd say new. I got a new one this week. And it came last week, so over the Monday. Because on the other one I've got, the original one, the sponsor's just completely gone, so it needed replacing.
So those that are listening to the audio, Daryl is wearing the orange CCA kit. I would refer that one as...
I had best on the back of mine, best one, yeah.
Bestie, yeah, Stephen.
I had best on. It was dead small, it was.
So, Decker, as usual, on a Monday night,
oh, shit, yeah,
you get to say the words, and I'm losing count how many times we've said this season, but take it away, mate.
Well, when you know,
get it in
there. I'm watching it twice either.
It's sorry, twice.
I'm not doing it again.
So we haven't obviously. Everton game was midweek, so
I'm not trying to think about that one.
But Decker, we'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's another game that's gone by, another result, which is, I would probably argue this one was probably expected, this result against Southampton. But I feel as if yet again, it's another benchmark to say Champions League football is ours to lose.
Yeah, well, listen, I have a real sort of romance for the Champions League. I hold it in such high regard, and I think, I don't know, some people, I was talking to people today that maybe not think that way so much. They're like, it's not what it used to be and blah, blah. But to me, the Champions League, I don't know, proper turns us on, if I'm honest. And that's always been my thought process when we got taken over. I was like, God, we might one day be in that competition. And obviously now, to be fair, I've actually been quite positive about being in the Champions League for months now. Not months, that's maybe a bit exaggeration, but certainly a good few weeks where Mark's been like, whoa, don't get carried away. But I really always felt that,
Mark, where we're going to get 6 wins from.
Yeah, Walker. I know, I think what the point I was trying to make a lot of the times was the time when we were competing for the champ. Well, we still are, obviously, but it was against Spurs, and I kept saying that if there's any team I'd want to be facing, to try and chase top 4, it would be them.
Aye,
because they're not very good. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, the form that we were on and sort of the wave we're riding, I thought we can get there. And now to be 11 points. Well, sorry, it's not quite as it's 9 now, sorry, because of Liverpool. But to be in the position we're in anyway, I don't think we're going to lose out on it. I really do. I think we're going to get there.
Would you? I'm staying with you. Would you feel slightly disappointed if we didn't get that Champions League spot now?
I'd be gutted, mate. I don't mind. And listen, I would be absolutely gutted, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't say it's been a fantastic season. Of course it has.
Yeah.
But I'm not lying. I'd be devastated. I'd be really upset because I just think to be in that competition, man, it's unreal. So yeah, I would be very disappointed. Yeah.
Are you scared in any way whatsoever, Daryl, of Liverpool catching?
I think after yesterday,
because those are the one to watch. Really,
yeah. I mean, realistically, with their goal difference, they're the ones that pose the biggest threat. But I think they do have the potential to go and win every game that they've got left to play. But
that means we've got to go on a bad losing streak.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we've only lost 4 in the league this season. It means having to lose 4 the next 5, which 3 of the next 5, whatever. It's just not going to happen, is it?
Unless Dr. Newcastle
it can happen, right?
It can happen.
It can. Football's a funny thing, but let's be realistic.
They won't stand for that. Them lads and Eddie won't stand for that happening. You just can't see it. And I think we've got Arsenal coming up this Sunday. I think if we beat them, it's a foregone conclusion. Definitely.
It rolled off the tongue then, didn't it? Beating them, eh? I'm not. Well, that's going to be a tough game.
It will. But they're bottling it at the minute as well. So why not?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I definitely think we can get it. Well, listen, we can beat anyone at home, and I've said that for weeks as well. Like, even if you take Sunday, like you look at the first 45 minutes, I might be jumping ahead here, so I apologise. But even when we were a goal down, I wasn't worried. Like I just thought it'll be fine. We'll sort it out.
We said that on the reaction yesterday, didn't we? It was like even though we had gone to go down, it was like not worried.
Yeah, not worried. No,
Not worried.
We'll put. I mean, I was disappointed with the first half, but I wasn't. I knew that. Just give her half time, maybe a bit of change or whatever it'll be, and we'll sort it out, and obviously we did.
Just you mentioned it, Dick. I know obviously we're going to be all over the shot on this one because we'll have already done one match reaction to the game at the weekend and obviously the Everton game midweek, so we'll go back and have a look at them. But were you surprised to see Eddie Howe make such a clinical decision at half time by taking Gordon off?
It was a brave one, I thought, because I said in there that the last chat I've got, I'd said like he's done this before, he did it with Maxi a few times where like I've seen Maxi play in the first half and he might move him maybe up front, say. And I know he said he did that through injury because of an injury or something, so he put him up front. But like with Gordon, he obviously he was causing trouble though, right? I think we have to be fair here. And I've seen a lot of grief he was getting online after the game, and I thought, it's a tad unfair, like, because I thought he looked dangerous. He was certainly up for it. I would say their fullback improved as the game went on and was starting to read his movements and was shepherding him out of play and stuff.
He switched at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, the switch, and he moved Gordon to the right. Was very ineffective. They didn't really do much at all. It was a brave sub, but it was probably ultimately it was the right one. But I don't think there's many managers would have done that. Honestly, I feel like a lot of managers would have just went, it is what you're causing trouble. Go out again the second half. I mean, Gordon must have been pretty devastated, like, I think, to be honest, because he had two really good chances, certainly one really good chance.
Should have buried one of them.
Yeah. But he did look threatening. Like, I mean, for all people who were having a go at him, I did think he looked lively. He looked like probably our best threat, if I'm being honest. Like, he looks like he's desperate for a goal, like, for his own confidence. Like, do
you think when they're similar sort of position with Gordon, Darryl, is what we were with Miggy? Do you know when Miggy needed that goal? And I know Miggy's run went on for a hell of a lot longer than what Gordon's probably will.
I hope.
But but it's at the point where you can tell he's doing things and he's trying things and he's getting in decent positions.
Yeah.
But obviously that was his first start at St. James's Park. Okay, and like I said, he had an all right game. He was probably the most attacking looking player in that first half. Do you think it's just a matter of time now? Do you think next season will be the one?
I think so. I mean, I did feel really sorry for him having to go off at half time on Sunday, and he, like I said, he carried a threat going forward, and he hit the post, and he had that one before that where he hit the side net, and then there's a few around me thought it had gone in, like, but he did carry a lot going forward, and I think there was a few elements of his play, if you notice when you watch it back, that he wasn't quite up to tune with the rest of the team, I think. And I think with time and with a full pre-season with Eddie and the lads, I think he'll come straight into that and he'll be fully fledged part of the squad next season without a doubt.
I think that's really important, the full pre-season. I think sometimes it can be difficult for a player joining in January, like, and to try and hit the ground running. It doesn't always work. Yes, of course it can work. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not always easy. And I still say, like, we signed him, right? And like a lot of people say, it's potential. You were buying potential. We weren't buying a ready-made player here that was going to just be amazing. You know what I mean? We all knew that.
And it wasn't a rash decision. Obviously, we saw in the interviews afterwards, Eddie Howe goes up to him and says that we've been after you for a while. Yeah.
And again, he'll be looking and thinking, what can he become as a player? I just, it's, as you say, though, you just meant it's his first start. It's his first start at St. James's. I mean, it's like, I just think sometimes, especially when you're playing as well as we are and the players are playing so well, it sometimes does stand out quite loudly when someone's maybe not absolutely on it. And I think maybe with that I did, but like I still thought he carried a real threat. Like, I know he didn't get his goal, but there was a couple of dangerous crosses he put in. There's definitely a player in there, like, no doubt about it. It's just hopefully next season, that with a full preseason and stuff like that, he'll come good.
I don't want to be overly critical of Gordon here, but
I'm going to be
kind of. Were you expecting more than what you've seen so far? Either of you can answer
that. Yes, but it comes with a caveat as well, because you have to remember where the team that he's come from. He's come from an Everton side that are pretty much on the verge of going down this season. and his confidence been completely shot by the way he's been treated down there as well. Not necessarily by the club, but by his own fans. And you saw that after the Everton game as well, and during the Everton game even. I mean, when he came out to do the warm-up before the game at Everton, there was a lot of vocal noises from the home end, and it was down to us in the away end to G him up and give him that bit of support and that, and he really did appreciate it because you could tell in his body language. And I also know that the club actually had extra security in place for him as well, just in case.
They're on the bench.
Yeah. And if
so
you
the two
notice,
lads you normally see him around Amanda, they were on the bench.
Yeah.
They weren't going to play like.
No. But
imagine bringing Triple H on.
I was thinking of Triple H.
That'd be superb. But if you notice as well during the game, I don't even think he did a warm-up before he came on. It wasn't safe enough for him to do a warm-up, and he came on without a warm-up as well. But yeah, I think it's just down to how he's been treated. And you would have thought, given on previous seasons' forms that he's had at Everton, then he would have come in and hit the ground running completely and been tearing it up. But I think with the situation he's come from, I think it's hurt him a bit, and it's just taking a bit of time to give him a bit of love and comfort and get him back up to scratch.
I'd probably agree. What I would say though, like in terms of what we've seen of Gordon at us, right? It's pretty much the same player I've seen at Everton, right? Like I honestly, and I'm not trying to be awful here, but like when we signed him, I thought he flattered to deceive at Everton. Really, I thought he went to ground easy, bit of a whinger, rat, dived a lot, no real end product, but ran around a lot and looked busy and was quick, and that's pretty much what I'm seeing at us, right? I wouldn't say he's not diving as much, to be fair to him. I'll give him that, but he's looking busy. He's certainly got something. There's no question of that. But that's kind of the same player I've seen at Everton. That he looks all right. He looks canny. Did I think he was worth 60 million when he was linked with Chelsea? No, I didn't.
I think you've got to look at it though and think that he was probably one of their standout players on the poor side.
Yeah.
It was only him and Richarlison, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Their biggest asset that they had, apart from maybe even Pickford, you could go as far as to say.
That's fair comment, yeah. So that like what I mean by that is like, did I expect to hit the ground runner? Do you know, I thought about this today, actually, right? It's funny. Do you know this reign of form that Jacob Murphy's gone on? I mean, I thought he was great again yesterday, by the way, in moments in the game. At that time, Murphy wasn't part of the team when we signed Gordon, right? Like, he was part of the squad, but he wasn't. Miggy was playing everything, right? If you had have said to me, like, think of the form Murphy's on. If you had have said to us, like, would it be Gordon or Murphy being able to produce that style, that type of football or that performance? I'd be like, Gordon all day. Murphy hasn't got that in him. And then just look at how it's done. Now, to try and flip what I'm trying to say is that is what is capable being around the squad and being around Eddie Howe, and not just Eddie Howe, the whole staff. So there's no doubt that he can't become good. Like, but all I'll say again is that I just feel it's what he's doing now is kind of the same play I've seen at Everton. Like there's something there, but really haven't seen it yet. I didn't really see it at Everton either. So.
It's probably obviously a great time to be involved with this squad as well. You'd rather be with the way we're all right now, if you're looking at it from Gordon's point of view, rather than struggling to get in a poor side.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because confidence is, I still say, is everything in football. It really is. It's that level as well. And I think if you're, as you say, coming on for a struggling side, you could see after the Everton how much he loved it. And I was going to ask you on this one because you mentioned. Did you see the footage after the game when he was like down the tunnel area, walking past out of like the. Yeah. Did that surprise you at all? Or?
Nah,
not really.
No.
I honestly think that he's now probably just cut all ties with that football club because he's not getting welcomed back at any point for the rest of his life.
They've made their stance quite clear down there, haven't they? And
must be mad it must be mad though as a player, like when you've supported that club. Yeah, like it's your club, and then. Do you know what I mean? Like, you imagine when he first pulled the shirt out and played for them to now be in this situation where.
But you know what it is? You probably.
I mean, everyone hates Everton, like, so I suppose can't blame him. But
these are probably questions that went through his mind before he had even put ink to paper on that contract.
Yeah,
he's obviously weighed it all up and thought that this is the right decision for him, and it will be 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
He couldn't have stuck around there.
No, he couldn't. And I still believe he'll be a big player for, and a good. Well. He still adds to the squad, right? And I'm all about adding to the squad. All right. Now, I'm not. He might become more than a squad player. I'm not saying that he won't be, but he's still going to be a good addition. I say give him a preseason, give him time under Eddie Howe, and we'll judge accordingly. You know what I mean? We'll just have to carry on. But I did feel from at half time though, because I didn't think he did a lot wrong. I mean, I know he didn't score, but he was still creating a lot.
The only thing he didn't do right was find the back of the net because that chance, which I said, it's a great chance, clear-cut chance.
Beautiful ball from Isak, wasn't it?
Aye.
Through. What a pass.
And do you know what it is? Eddie Howe's had to make a decision, and he's made the decision based on pushing Isak out on the left, really, hasn't he? So I think if I had been anybody on that left-hand side, absolutely anybody, who played that poorly in the first half, that player on that wing would have been axed.
Well, it's not only my mate that gets it all the time.
And if it was Maxi,
I mean?
even if he had a half-decent game, if we were losing 1-0, I think Eddie Howe would have still made that decision.
Yeah.
To get Isak and Wilson on
at
the same time.
That makes sense. Yeah,
and it's just unlucky for Gordon that he's that player that was sacrificed at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a really good point. No, it's a good point because I think Isak, we've seen. Well, if we touch on the Everton game, I know we're jumping around and apologise, but you look at that assist, which I mean, that all came down from the left hand side, and there was moments yesterday where he just looked untouchable on the left hand side. So we're blessed, aren't we, in that regard that we can move him out wide, and he's such a dangerous threat, But no, you're right. I mean, to get Wilson on, you have to move Isak out there, and Gordon had to be sacrificed, and probably would have been Maxi if he was on. It would have been the same.
And in hindsight, as we know right now, Eddie Howe made the brave decision, which was the correct decision, Daryl.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it pays its own dividends when your sub gets you 2 goals, and just to touch on the decision to move Isak out wide, we can see now just how versatile he is. And we know he can play through the middle and score goals, and we also know that he's capable of getting out wide and playing crossfield passes and pulling in assists and just doing all sorts of magic with his feet as well. And the shape that the team took in the second half as well, it wasn't as if Isak and Wilson got close together. We still held that formation of the 4-3-3. And I think you probably saw more Willock pushing further forward to assist Wilson in the middle rather than Isak drifting in from one side and like Murphy from the other, etc. And it just worked to a T.
He's something else, Isak, like, isn't he?
Oh,
he's
God.
something else.
He's an absolute bargain.
He is literally like if Benzema and Thierry Henry had a love child like him. It's just it's unbelievable. Like, I mean, he's just got everything. Like,
he's the type of player that he would probably look perfect in most lineups for most squads. And that's not me obviously just jumping ahead of it. I honestly think that he could get in champions of whatever league. I honestly think he could. He's that good.
Yeah.
And it looks effortless, Decker. It looks like he's not even trying.
You can also see what Howe meant about fitness, and he had said that he is fit to play, but not the way I want him to play. I remember when he used that line because he had to kind of come out, didn't he, and sort of
he's fit, but
not correct himself, but explain himself more. And you can see that, and also you can see again his confidence when he's getting the ball. Every time he gets it, he looks like he feels invincible, and he's willing to just go past anyone. Especially, if you do that assist against Everton, probably every time he gets the ball now, he thinks he can take the world on. Listen, this is why one of the reasons why I love Max. He's someone that's direct. I keep saying that. I repeat myself every week. I'm sorry, but I love players that love to get at the opposition, and he does. But his feet are just unbelievable.
So if you thought Maxi's close control of the ball was good, he's a different level.
Oh God,
unbelievable! Honestly, unbelievable.
His first touch as well, man. His ability just to control it the way he does. I mean, I think who was it against?
Everybody, Daryl.
The Bruno,
well, yeah,
I remember. First touch, unbelievable.
He sort of touched it with his left and he brought it down, but also brought it right down and back onto his right foot. It was just unreal. His close control is just absolutely out of this world.
It's like that. Remember when you're a kid? You probably had this, and there was like a strap that you put around your waist, and there was a ball attached to the string.
I used to kick.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
That ball's never leaving.
Well, especially on that assist. I mean, the way that he was, especially with the very, very tight towards the byline where he did that little move, it was absolutely unbelievable. But you look at, like, I've just mentioned that chance for Gordon when he hit the post, like that through ball he played was just perfect. Like, it really was. And he leads the line so well. His first touch is amazing. We've seen him score all different types of goals, from being a header to that goal. I keep always get this mixed up. Maybe Bournemouth away, it wasn't. It was someone else. Forest away, I think it was. But he created an angle for his body to get the shot on target. All these type of things, and he's just absolutely unbelievable. Like, to be fair here, and when we paid 60-odd million for him, I thought, whoa, he must be good, because they do the due diligence. They're a clever bunch, they must know he's good. But Christ, I didn't think he was this good. I mean, he's the best. He's unbelievable.
You can sort of see that the whole data analysis approach that they're now taking up at St James's is just absolutely so.
It's a right players in the right positions, isn't it?
I mean, it's such a forensic examination they're doing on these players that we're bringing in.
And I wanted to mention this now. I might as well mention it now before I forget. But there's no one in the Premier League that have the we've got 2 strikers that are both able to do the job Like
different jobs though.
Yeah, like so you've got Isak will start 1 week because there's loads of people. I remember the comments of the whatever last game it was, I think, and there was he had dropped Isak and played Wilson, and everyone was like, why isn't Isak playing? He's just played amazing, blah blah. And who scores? Wilson gets a couple, whatever, and then he'll then be dropped and Isak comes in, he'll get a couple. Now, of course, that might not last forever. You know what I mean? Again, everyone has dips in form, but there's no one in the league that has two players like that where they can complement each other so well and both get goals. Really, I mean, Wilson has got the record now of scoring 8 goals in the month, one calendar month, which beat Chivas from '99. That's unbelievable. That, like,
I mean, when you look at it as well, I saw the stat. I don't know if it was last night or this morning, where if you look at the strikers with the minutes per goal ratio. And you've got Haaland, who's out in front, obviously, because he's a bloody robot. But second and third, Wilson and Isak. It just speaks volumes. And
it's unbelievable.
The fact that you also have to extend that to Joe Linton as well, because and Mickey, because we're going to have these players who are like going to be in double digits. And it's the first time we've ever had 3 players with 10 goals plus in a season. And, Joe Linton's not that far off joining them in that group. We could end up having 4. It's new territory for us, like.
Well, it is the football we're playing, man. I mean, if we touch on that second half yesterday, I mean, we were just like battering them from the minute the second half kicked off.
Right in, like.
It was unbelievable. The intensity. Well, it was pretty much what wasn't there in the first half, and I'd even say this from the fans as well. To be quite honest, it was very much like, I don't know. I felt as if that we just were expecting to win.
Yeah, it's like that deck meme, isn't it? Like where they'll say do one thing, so it's like, oh, let's Southampton take the league. Now we'll battle them.
It was like we had moments in the first half where we're still good. We still had chances. We're mentioning them. Gordon had a chance. Joe Linton's head. I just went wide. We had a few chances, but the overall intensity didn't seem there. Whereas it was as if they're really going to kick up the arse at half time. In the second half, were just unbelievable. As you say, Willock definitely went higher, which I thought helped. Wilson was brilliant, of course he was, but we just looked. Southampton had no answers. Like they just couldn't get. Every time they got the ball, they had to just physically get rid of it, and then we were coming back at them again. We were amazing that second half.
Let's jump through some of the questions because we've had quite a few already. If anybody does have any more questions, fire them our way. We'll normally keep this one till the end of the show, but let's just do whatever we want tonight, boys. And we're also only 17 subscribers away from 10,000. So not far away. Obviously, when we get the 10,000, you unlock the video, like Daryl's just said. So you'll get the Battle of the Kids Goalkeeper Edition. I'm buzzing for that
one. I can't wait.
Some belters in there.
Yeah.
Most of the message that we get on Twitter and on YouTube is, when are you going to do the final Battle of the Kids? And to be fair, it was 3 years ago now that we've done the original Battle of the Kids. There was a fair few strips that we can add in.
It was COVID, wasn't it, when we did it? Because it was something to do from home, wasn't it?
It was something to do. Get pissed from home.
Get pissed
from home. That's what we're doing. And people have mentioned the smelly fish challenge as well. The fish challenge will be coming through the summer. Okay, we're not going to do it mid-season. We'll have to keep some content for the summer, and we're also going to have to try and bribe Bestie to come along because he's already said that he's not coming.
I don't know. I'm coming, to be fair.
But yeah, we'll definitely do the fish challenge. Right, so let's go through some of the questions. As always, our good friend Josh Stockton has sent in a donation. So thanks very much, Josh. He says, hi lads, hope you're well. Question. Our win yesterday matched our points total for the 2011-12 when we finished 5th under Alan Pardew. Looking back, what are your memories of that season, and do you believe we could qualify for the Champions League? So could we qualify for the Champions League then? You can see him. It's quite ideal that you're wearing that shirt as well.
Isn't it? Quite well, yeah.
So memories from that season.
There's a lot. Well, one that
I've got a bit of a left field one. Yeah, Danny Simpson.
Ooh, what just his overall?
Out of his skin, played out of his skin. I think he made about 12 goal line clearances.
He did. Yeah, he did. That was I think that season was just mental because, well, obviously we were never expecting to ever be that good, right? Yeah. We just weren't, and like we played some great football. Like I mean, I remember Stoke away is a game that sticks in my mind a lot. In that one, Denver Bar's hat-trick was unreal. And Stoke was a very difficult place to go to at that time as well. Like they were brutal, but we battered them. The Sunderland one, wasn't it? Sunderland was the second game of the season away. Ryan Taylor. That was that one, wasn't it? Yeah. Because we lost Santon or whoever it was, left back, or Enrique or whoever it was, and then we basically put Ryan Taylor out there, didn't we? It was just an experiment really to get. And all of a sudden, You know, we're 12 games unbeaten, and we're like he was there. But no, there was some. We just had some really. Like Cabaye was just unreal. Cabaye and Tiote in midfield were just.
The Man U 3-0 was that season?
Yeah,
it was
in the rain.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What
Got
a
that
game.
Cabaye free kick when the rain dropped its hit off the crossbar when he smashes that.
Unbelievable! Some mint games, like really was. And we could have gotten Champions League when we were very close.
We were still in the shout on the last day, like.
Yeah, we were dreadful that last day, though, weren't we? For what was at stake, we were dreadful. And ironically, it wouldn't have mattered because Chelsea won the Champions League, didn't they? So even if we hadn't made it, we wouldn't have, which would have been a real kick. That No, it was a brilliant season. That one of my favourites.
It's always been seen as a real sliding doors moment, hasn't it, as well? Because obviously on the back of that finish, we only really signed Vernon in the summer. And if we'd have gone and made the Champions League, I mean, it would have aggravated Mike Ashley, I'm sure, to the high hell, because he would have had to spend a lot more money than he did.
What do you have, though?
Well,
what do you have?
Would have been made a right laughing stock if we'd have gone to the Champions League.
We still made a decent fist of it, like, didn't we, in Europe? You know, we got the quarters, didn't we? Benfica, and that home game was
flirted with relegation for quite a lot as well. Couldn't handle it, but with the squad that we had, but still memorable.
It was 100%. It really was for me. Like, it's one of the seasons that stands out, to be honest with you.
Baz had a great shout there. He said Danny Simpson using Stokes towels for every throw to waste time.
That's right. Yeah.
It was a mad goal. Obviously, the Marky Boy mentions Ben Offa's goal v Bolton.
Unbelievable.
That season as well.
So Blackburn in the Cup would have been the same season as well, wouldn't it? Obviously, but Premier League, yes. That Bolton goal was just unbelievable.
I think we've done a couple of the season reviews, and I don't think that was one. I don't think we did that one yet.
No,
we did the championship one. We've done the championship season, and we have done another one, which is that another relegation season that we did?
Great
with
one
Wijnaldum.
Great one to pick.
Why did we pick that? Did we do that one?
I don't think I've done any of the reviews over. I don't think I've been part.
I
can't remember. We've definitely done two.
Yeah.
But that is something else which we're going to look at
in
the summer
definitely
as well, because obviously we've got a lot of space to
how
fill.
could we forget Papa Cisse coming in and
I was going
to smashing everything.
God, I love
Cisse. Goals for fun, and the two at Chelsea.
Oh, goodness me. The first one doesn't get any credit, does it? Because of how good that second one was. That first one was unbelievable.
Oh, God.
Just teased it up for himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. Right foot, bang left.
I nearly took the roof off the house when he scored the second one.
Baz also says Enrique going in goal.
Yes.
Liverpool game.
Yes. Yeah. That was when Carroll come back, didn't he? We gave him some real grief. He got subbed off as well, didn't he?
I did.
That was.
I actually dove in the first couple of minutes, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was that game?
I remember that Liverpool goal loads that when Cisse scored, Hat and Ben Offa like turns and then turns again and turns again, then turns again, and then eventually crosses it, and Cisse somehow gets it, and it no power on the cross or anything.
That would automatically make me remember Swansea away.
Oh yes,
West Brom as well, isn't
it?
That season.
Oh God, honestly, that is still one of my favourite away days. That West Brom one. I was live on Sky at the time, I remember, but I was at the game. The sun was blazing on the piss all day, and we absolutely for 20 minutes. It was like Tottenham-esque when we beat. Like I only got 3 goals, but like we could have had 5 or 6. We were unbelievable that first half, unbelievable. But we had so many exciting players, didn't we? You know, Jonas was still part of it. Then you had Ben Arfa, Cabaye, Demba.
It's just one of them scenes where everything clicked.
It really did. Like it really did. Yeah, they were brilliant. Like.
Right, next question is there's another one from Josh. Thanks, Josh. He says also, not that I have any favourites. I love you all. But can we see more of Decker on match previews and reactions?
Yeah. You know what it is? I honestly, right? Who said that? Sorry,
Josh.
Oh, Josh. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, mate. It's just me life, mate. Like honestly, like, I've got the kids and that, and like it's just really hard to fit it in. But I have to do more because I do want to do them. It's just time. But I promise I will. What one video a week's near good is it for us? So I need to do more than that.
I thought you were going to say you do one match preview of the season.
No. I mean, season. I do like just a Monday, and I do need to do more. So.
Right, next one up is from Baz88, who mentioned some of the memorable moments in that season. Says, whatever European competition we qualify for, are you going to do a live reaction to the draw? Was it?
I think
we knew that we're talking about this yesterday.
We were talking about it yesterday, weren't we? Yeah.
So. After we finished recording the match reaction yesterday, myself, Daryl, and Scott, was it just the 3 way? It wasn't it?
Roger.
And Roger turned up last minute. So we were talking about doing obviously more things for whatever European football we get. Obviously, the live draw being one of them. So 100% we'll be doing things. You'll be sick of our faces and voices by the end of next season. I'll tell you that.
Got the Champions League draw. It takes about 3 hours, doesn't it?
Aye.
It's like 2 hours of nothing, and then
We'll get a takeaway, mate.
Yeah. Oh my God! Like I just love the Champions League now. Honestly, I really do.
I cannot wait to see
Really
who we'll
do.
get.
Can you imagine St James's Park, man? Right
Oh,
on a Champions League night.
I'm going to be bawling my eyes out. Like,
Oh my God! Just unbelievable.
I just shared it.
Unbelievable.
I think it might have been yesterday, like later on last night, and I shared it, and it was, I shared it on the Twitter, and it was UEFA. I think it was through the UEFA channels. It put something on about us being back in the Champions League, and it was the highlights of Leverkusen at home, and that was my first game.
Oh, was it really?
It was my first game.
She had one. How was it that game? Yeah.
First and last time I'd ever heard the Champions League anthem at St James's, and to think we could hear it again next
I know.
season just got me.
I'll cry. Like I think.
Sorry,
I will.
it's got me welling up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Like unbelievable.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Right,
What?
and I'm gonna keep on putting the caveat in though, as no matter which European competition that we get,
Oh yeah,
even though I think it's going to be Champions League, is that first display from Wall Flags, because you know it'll be special.
so special.
Absolutely, honestly, unbelievable, mate. Like it's just going to be because you know it is. Them keep setting that bar, don't they, for themselves? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it must be hard. It must be really, really hard to keep coming up with new ideas and new things to do. But whenever they do something, you know, they kind of make a big thing of it to say like get the early blah blah blah. It's just always amazing. Like I've loved the ones where it's either side. You know, like that must take some effort. Like, but it's just unbelievable, and it really does help, though, doesn't it? It helps the atmosphere. It helps build the occasion. And you're right. Like St James is one of the lights. Like on a European night, Champions League.
I remember being a kid, man. I remember being a kid. Obviously, Champions League football back in the day, and even the European on that Pardew, those nights were special.
Yeah,
really were, mate. Yeah. My first ever game, I've said this many times, was Atletico Bilbao at home. UEFA Cup it was. That was my first one. 3-2. Or 3-0 up in about 10 minutes. But Keegan football got in trouble and we conceded 2. But anyway, but yeah, it is. It's just special, isn't it? Now, you know what it is as well. Like given what I was thinking about the Champions League was, you know, if you finish third. You see, you'd get in the Europa League. You'd automatically get a sort of a second dib. So fair enough. You might not.
You just drop in. You like funnel down, don't you?
Yeah. So you could. Fair enough. You have a stint in the Champions League, which I think we'll win it anyway. But don't clip that. I'm just joking. But if we've got in Europa League, like you're going to attack that. Do you know what I mean? So brilliant. It's just going to be amazing. It really, really is. It's going to be amazing.
So just obviously being on the subject that Keegan Busey is, do you guys worry with Champions League football and a congested schedule, will you not be able to play the way we do, high intensity? We don't want to do a Leicester or West Ham and suffer in the league. You just look as far back as our last spell in European football, and like you said earlier, Daryl, we struggled the season that we had European. I think no matter what, there'll be a handful of incomings to the club, whether or not that'll be starting players, as in players come straight into starting 11, or more players on the same aspect where you can look at like Gordon, like players that are decent players at their club currently, but maybe might not get into a starting 11.
Yeah,
because to bring players into that starting 11, they're going to have to be very good players, Daryl.
Oh, I mean, what you'll see is, you know, the club are clearly preparing for different levels of European qualification for next season. And I think what you'll see is if we go into the Champions League, it'll be a case of the players that the club will look at to bring in it'll be players that will be better suited to rotation. And I think we'll see a lot more rotation next season with the Champions League fixtures in place as well. It sounds great. It does. Honestly, it sounds mental talking about it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You've just mentioned it twice there. Well, the Champions League, I'm just like, what is happening? Like, what is happening, man? Like, it's just ridiculous. It just shouldn't be as early as this, should it?
No, we're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and I think
massively ahead of it.
About 2 or 3 years ahead of schedule, like easy.
Anybody like associated with the club will probably openly admit that to you.
To answer the question, like it does worry us. Like I have to be fair, and I know that we're going to have obviously investment, and you know we can improve the squad, but it does worry us that it's going to be tough. It really is.
It'll be the first time for a lot of these players. I know some of them have obviously played Champions League football to a decent level as well. To be fair, also the first time for Eddie Howe and his coaching staff, though.
I was going to mention that,
and it's a different ball game, European football. But Eddie's a clued up kid. Like he's head screwed on, and you know he will dissect every ounce and every inch of the opposition.
One of the things that fascinates me about this is, you know, at the minute we're running on a week-to-week basis, basically, and we can see when we get more than, if we get a busy week with 3 games in, that you can sort of tell the performances start to dip by the time you get to the 3rd fixture. In a season where you're going to end up with Champions League fixtures in between there as well, there's very little time to rest between your games. So it'll be interesting to see how the club and how Eddie and the staff manage that as well.
Eddie Howe mentioned obviously the run which got to Wembley in the end. You mentioned that, saying obviously it's a bit of a look ahead of what the future will be like with this football club, where we're playing midweek Sunday, every single week, really.
I think it's also like, of course, like being able to the intensity that we play at. I understand that, you know, if you're playing that many games, it's hard to keep the intensity, right? But I also think that the preparation for the upcoming opposition, you know what I mean, like in terms of what you do in training to tactically prepare for them, or work that you do on the training ground that's going to affect that game, your time's cut so much shorter.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you finish on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you know you're playing Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So you ain't got much time to prepare tactically, physically. I mean, of course, you can look at boards and spreadsheets, but I mean, in terms of actually on the training ground, you ain't got much time. And then by the time you then get back, you're playing Saturday dinner time, or maybe Sunday afternoon. Well, it's really tough.
We're going to be running mainly on momentum. And if we can keep going on with results and not losing games, then it'll stand in good stead, like going through that campaign. But if you end up going on a run where you lose 2 or 3, and we've done that before, especially in the Champions League days, it can hurt you. But I think, like we've said, it's going to be down to Eddie and the staff to make sure that we're on top of it. And to be honest, at the minute, you wouldn't bet against them.
No, you wouldn't. No, definitely not. And I think what everyone has to, obviously, Chris has mentioned it there, and I was going to, about this is Howe's first sort of attempt in Europe and all the rest of it. I think as an entire club, entire fan base, everyone, we have to just almost take this a little bit like a learning experience of like, okay, right, we're there now, right? Okay, let's see what we can do. And then, listen, and if it doesn't work out the way we would love it to, okay, well, we'll know we're going to be back there at some point. Then we learn from that experience. You know,
we're going to have to give them We're going to have to give them grace to a point where we're going to have to be ready to accept that things aren't going to go to plan, because as much as we know that there are players in the squad that have played Champions League football, there's just as many, if not more, that haven't.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be a completely new ball game to them as well.
Of course, we will strengthen massively.
I
say massively. We'll certainly sign players in the summer.
And it won't be the likes of it neither.
No.
Like we did last time.
No. You're going to have, 4 or 5 players perhaps coming in, and that's going to bolster you massively, And in fairness, right, we've seen it already where...
That's. I think you've got to look at it. Sorry to interrupt. You've got to look at it both on field in regards to recruiting players, but what this competition will do for the club in regards to a brand and a global brand is up there as well. And that's how the club will be looking at it.
The benefits
as well, commercial aspects.
The benefits commercially, are going to be out of this world. And
it's the pinnacle of club football.
It'll be interesting. I'll tell you what, it'll be interesting to see on the Amazon documentary, just when it gets to the point where we reach the end of the season, then this is just going to open up so many doors for the club in terms of revenue growth. It's just going to...
They're going to have a busy summer, like.
Oh,
yeah. Massively. I was saying to a few of the lads on the weekend there, like, I think it's amazing that we're in this position. Of course it is, right? But I also think that let's try and make sense of what I'm going to say here. So I think next season, right? I think, for all I know, Chelsea are just in this mess at the minute, right?
You'll think they would fix it.
Still think they'll fix it eventually, right? Liverpool will come back stronger, right?
Spurs
are a bit of a mess, but if them got it right, if them could get it right, you know what I mean? The option of finishing in the top 4, it's going to be tough next season. Like, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of like, with Chelsea, and I don't want to take this away from us, I really don't, right? But with Chelsea being as poor as they have been and Liverpool slipping off, we've really capitalised on that. And took advantage of that, which has been amazing, of course, because I think next season you may well not finish in the top 4, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, you know what I mean? But we'll see.
I think it changes. There's a couple of comments saying top 5 next year gets Champions League.
It does, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I do, yeah. So, that's right. Top 5, which 25% of your league getting in Champions League doesn't sound good, personally, to me.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But we'll take it, because we might be the ones finishing 5th, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you've got Man United probably going to get God knows how much investment coming up. Yeah, so they're going to be stronger. So it's going to be tough, right? But
it's interesting, when we mentioned about this season being like the Leicester Championship winning season. It is to a degree, because there were a lot of teams that season that were going through a transition, and it just allowed Leicester to just go through with their momentum and just steamroll the whole league. So but then again, we're a team in transition. So
true, yeah.
We're going through a transition as much as anybody else is, and it's going to be great to see where we go.
Oh, we're going to win the Champions League, so it's all good. we'll just sack the league off, right?
Then win that.
We'll
still qualify for Champions League.
We'll sack the league off, right? Just we'll stay up.
Sack it
We'll,
off.
we'll just stay up, right? So we'll be fine and just concentrate on the Champions League and win it.
Right. Next question is from Dan Witten, who is a member of the channel as well. So if anybody else wants to become a member, you have more chance of your question being read out as well. It's just $2.99 a month. You get access to more videos, to bonus content, to early access to majority of videos, and access to the Telegram group. And I can only imagine how buzzing that group's going to be this time next season. So Dan Witten says, is it time to start? How am I going to finish this one, Decker?
Planning people's exits or planning who we're signing?
So you went with a negative approach. You did first of all, Decker, but it wasn't that.
Oh, right,
it was.
okay.
Is it time to start Wilson and Isak together?
Oh, okay, right. Okay. Well,
I'll jump in first, and I'm going to say not just yet, because I like the impact that they have later on in the game.
Well, I'm gonna say that, but from a different angle, actually, is that I feel basically right. I think a lot to do with Wilson's unbelievable form is he's not playing as many minutes. So I think if you went back to Wilson playing every single game again, you'll either break down or his body just won't be able to perform the way it's performing at the moment. And I really think that having this balance of one game it's you, one game it's him type of approach, I think one's making Wilson incredibly hungry. When he's seen it, listen, I still say this, right? I could be, forgive us if I'm wrong, but there was a game where I think Isak had scored a couple. Oh, it was a Tottenham game. And he looked pissed off when he scored, Wilson. He didn't look happy at all.
Aye.
And he had just scored. And it was almost as if to go, I'm fucking still here, you know? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I feel as if that and Wilson's so cocky, right? He's unreal for that. I feel as if he'll be seeing goals going, fuck's sake, I should be the, do you know what I mean? And I think that might push him more because seeing Isak doing as well as he is.
It pushed him more to go on against Everton.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I'm going back. That's that second goal, man.
Oh, hey.
What a goal
Yeah,
that was. Oh, my God.
Hey.
I was just, the noises I was making were unbelievable. But I think Wilson not playing as much is 100% helping him because he's been able to rest a bit more.
Yeah.
And then when he's coming on, he's really got a point to prove. But
he can give more effort as well, can't he?
100%. 100%. But I agree to the question, though, right? On just what your eyes see, the eye test is get them on all the time because they're the best. I get it. I get the question.
What worries, though, is if you don't capitalize when they're both on the field in the early minutes of a game, then where do you go later on in the game to change things?
Yeah.
Because you'd want them on later in the game together still, wouldn't you? And it would have to make a change somewhere else. But I think to answer that question is you have to listen to what Eddie says about playing them together. And it's got to be in the right circumstances. And you saw that at Brentford. Worked perfectly, playing them together in the second half. It worked well yesterday against Southampton. Perfect. Everton worked well.
And I think what you've mentioned there is also important that against Brentford, we did bring them both on and we actually played them as a pair.
Yeah.
Whereas the other two examples you've given, they're not actually as a pair. The Isak is much further out wide, but so again, the versatility there is superb. Like, but I still think that, you know, allowing Wilson to not play as many minutes is so important.
Got to keep them hungry, haven't you?
Yeah,
got to keep them hungry.
And the time, unfortunately, the time will come. You know, it will come where Isak probably does get hurt again. It's football, right? It'll happen, and then you will have to rely on Wilson constantly. But his form since, you know, people were obviously questioning. He went through that bad run after the post World Cup.
Yeah,
it's incredible what he's done since coming, like to refine his form again. It's incredible.
Just what he's done last month.
Yeah. It
was it 8 goals? Is it 8 goals in April?
8 goals in April. Yeah,
incredible.
Absolutely ridiculous. Let's go through the rest of these questions, and we'll fire through these ones as quick as we can. We've been going 45 minutes tonight.
Gone already?
45, already gone. So this one is from Ian, Gallowgateshots Ian. Says, I'm assuming this is down to Isak. He says, do you see him as a striker or playing on the wing going forward as his primary position? It's a versatility of the kid. This is just how good he is. And I think he's probably the type of kid that won't make a song and dance about whatever position he's on because he can do a job no matter where he is. But for me, do you know what? He reminds us so much of Remy because Remy looked amazing on that wing as well.
Yeah, coming in from that.
He looked fantastic on the wing, Remy. And he's not your typical striker. Callum Wilson, you'd look at Wilson and go, you're a typical number 9 for Newcastle. Mm-hmm. But every time Isak's played up top, he does a mint job, absolutely fantastic job. So
it's a different. It's a different kind of job to Wilson as well. He's not the target man that you want. He's the one that can run in behind and he uses his pace and his touch and for me, it's whatever suits the circumstances. My answer to that. If you need somebody to run in behind through the middle, he's actually man. If you need somebody to hold the ball up, use Wilson and use him as a battering ram, by all means. It goes back to the versatility, though. I mean, to have that versatility across your front line is just amazing.
It is. I think in terms of like his goal scoring, you think of the goals he has scored, a lot of them have come in within that 6-yard area. Do you know what I mean? He's been a poacher that we've needed. You go back to the Fulham game where Longstaff and Wilson headers it across for Isak's the one in that literally on the line to tap it in. That header he scored, the one Mark says he didn't do out. He just glanced it on. He generated all the power. That was an amazing header. I can't remember what game it was, but it is a tough one to answer that question, like, because I think, let's say you're going to say Isak is going to be the man through the middle, then the option that you've got out left, in many people's eyes, may not be good enough, because either is it going to be Gordon full-time or Maxi full-time, and maybe people might not be happy with either the man says.
Well,
you know, I mean,
Joe Linton's been on the left.
Oh, that's very true. Yes,
well,
you've got Joe Linton there. You've got some options, to be fair, on the left-hand side.
Different options, like in regards to style of play.
Yeah.
Some lovely little relationships like developing.
I see him personally in the future, because Wilson will still be here next year, which is great, right? And all the rest of it. But eventually, Wilson will move on, and because of age. I do see him personally, I think, through the middle. I feel him that way. But
like a bit like, it's almost like, he's been compared to Thierry Henry. He could have the career trajectory of Thierry Henry and end up in the middle from the wing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He would still do the same job.
Thierry Henry was something else. Anyway.
It's just the comparisons, and we're not the only ones saying it.
Yeah.
They're saying the coaching staff, but obviously behind the scenes at St James's have been saying the same thing, but they're too scared to say it publicly.
Yeah. For us to have a player that's even linked in the same breath as him is just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Next one is from Rossington Bear that says, if when we get Champions League, does getting another striker become a priority?
Yeah.
Wilson simply won't be able to play 2 games a week as good as he is.
Totally agree.
I agree to a certain extent. I didn't. Do you know what it is? A handful of weeks ago, I would be 100% behind that point, saying that Wilson can't feature every game. He's not featuring every game at the minute in regards to starting. And I know things will change, but we've had a hectic schedule recently where we're trying to fit games in because of the cup run that went on.
Yeah.
And that'll continue until the end of the season. I don't think a striker will be priority, because I think you're probably going to be looking at somebody to either challenge Wilson for that second spot, because I think that's his next spot to lose, really, or your third choice. I don't think we're going to bring somebody in to go straight top of that pile.
No, so I get what you're saying about priority, maybe the word, but I think, let's be fair, when we had Wood, we had 3 strikers then, and how definitely, I believe, went on record to say like he felt we were weakened by selling Wood, but the deal was too good to turn down, and that's football, happens. There's absolutely no doubt about it that he'd want another striker, and to have them 3 options, I really feel that, because if you imagine, if Isak did get hurt, you then relying on Wilson 2 games a week. Well, thanks very much for coming, because that's not going to last very long.
You definitely need to have that third option, like you say, and it'll be interesting, because this is where we start talking about, who we start thinking about names, and you can't.
Oh no!
You
think
can't
who it's going to be.
We would have been asked this question this time last year, and nobody mentioned Isak.
No.
Yeah,
the club. Why it's a club's job.
The club will know. But I definitely think another striker is very, very important. I think, given the amount of competitions we're going to be involved in, and the way that we are, and the club that we are, will be challenging on all fronts. Well, of course, not going to win everything. I'm not saying that, but how his attitude will be, we will try and win every single game we're involved in. Mm-hmm. So that's talking you across 4 competitions then, and that's tough work. Like,
I think you're going to have to look at the other side of the field. And obviously, we've got Botman, who's a young kid, right? He's going to be here for God knows how long, hopefully.
Oh, that's amazing,
Sorry for that moment of silence. We just saw Leicester score against Everton. I think you're going to have to look at Fabian Schär and in regards to a replacement.
Well, do you know what it is? I'm going to ask you, because I thought we'd come to this anyway, but I'm trying to make the show longer. So in terms of positions that we need, I have my kind of list where I think we do. So you've obviously mentioned Shea there here. You mentioned so I'll come to you next. I'll ask Chris and ask you. So what positions do you feel we need in the summer?
Right back.
Oh, okay.
But that all depends on Kraft's recovery, because I think Kraft could do a job as a replacement. I think he's a decent player. I'm going to say left back. I want a left back who's pretty similar to Trippier, but obviously on the other side of the field. Do you know what it is from that right hand wing? I'm still not confident at times with that side, and obviously a centre back, like I mentioned.
Okay, Darryl?
Very much the same. I think, like Chris said, it depends on how the options underneath Trippier are. So that you're looking at Kraft's return and his return to fitness. You're looking at Mankio. You're looking at Harrison Ashby, who's very much under the radar at the minute because he's recovering from injury and he's doing a lot of stuff with the reserves at the minute. You're very much looking at his development as well and how quickly he develops. In terms of left back, totally agree. You need somebody who is a similar ilk to Trippier or whatever on that side. Definitely an understudy for Shea along the lines of a Botman. For me, I still think we need a natural defensive midfielder.
Is that to free up Bruno?
To free up Bruno, yeah, absolutely. I think, when Bruno came into the side last January for the first time and started finding his feet, he was helped and he was more free to go forward when he had likes of a Shelby sitting in behind him. So you need a natural defensive midfielder. Who that is, God knows. But
I do know one.
Well, and I think the club might want to try and stick to maybe 4 marquee signings, but I think you would still see maybe another 1 or 2, and I think an extra striker would definitely be on the list for me.
Who was your defensive midfielder, Endeavour?
Declan Rice. But surprise. I think I might get Tillemans of. But anyway, I think. You've pretty much named them. What I would do. Left back 100%, definitely. As much as I like targeting Dan Burnston brilliantly over there, I think you need someone over there really. Yeah. Definitely replacement centre half for Shea, because Burn will be Botman's replacement if anything happens to him. You need someone else for Shea. Right back actually wasn't some way I thought of, if I'm being honest, and I suppose a lot of that does have to deal with how Kraft returns, right? Because it's the long injury that he's had
almost season, wasn't it?
And do you know what it is, right? He's another player, the one that went from being really, really not like too strong, just not rated, to becoming really good. Like everyone had a lot of time for him. Defensive midfield, definitely 100% that position sorted, to allow Bruno to be free. Another striker. And then maybe right wing, possibly right wing, because you really have only got Murphy and Almiron. Unless you sacrifice, Maxi could go out there, could Gordon go out there if needed.
You can shift things around.
You can,
for
but it's
those
not
wing positions.
Yeah.
The rumours was Diaby just on disappearing.
He's good.
Everybody mentions him every single podcast that would do, but obviously he's that right hand side winger that.
If you could strengthen them areas, you get, if you got, I love Teeny. If you could somehow get him, if he stays fit. You had another centre half just as backup. You're getting that centre midfield area sorted as well. You're really, you're talking show business.
Do you know what it is? I think we'll have to look at the I'm saying squad players, not even squad players, but if you look at the likes of Longstaff and Murphy, who will be on reasonably low paying contracts compared to some of these stars that we've got in the team. So you look at Bruno, Joe Linton, they'll be on massive wages, and Isak will be on a huge one. This is what you want at this moment in time with where the club are, because they're not really going to be rocking any boat in regards to wages just yet. Mm-hmm. But they're going to be essential to the growth of this football club and the competitions that we're going to be involved in, because we'll need their legs for the likes of the cup games in the Premier League against lower oppositions in the table as well. I think, yes, we'll look at eventually advancing from those, but the next couple of years, I think they're going to be essential to this football club.
They can be rewarded with a little bit of an increase without breaking the bank as well, like you say, because of what they're on at the minute. It's relatively low compared to everybody else, which is a good incentive to them as well, to show that if they keep improving, then the sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I think some of them European games, away from home, and that, when I'm not depending on who you get in your group, but some of the lower end sides that we would class, the likes of your Murphys, and 100% I'm going to do a serious job in them games, so they're going to be a massive importance. And I'm sure House said only last week or the week before that there's not going to be a huge exodus of players. He says majority are going to stay. There'll be a few Richies and then that probably go, but I think that the nucleus that you're seeing now are all going to still be there. Like Jamal Lewis might move on, if that's possible. Things like that might happen, but I think that the main nucleus that are playing now are going to still be there next year. Do you know? Remember on Rafa when you think of it now, we're still miles away. But at the time, we all said, I feel like we're only 2 or 3 players away from being a good side. Remember, we used to always get that used to always get coined that phrase. A couple of signings, if Ashley would put his hand in his pocket, we'd be a really good signing, a Rafa. Like, I think we are 3 or 4 away from being like absolutely unreal, actually, to be honest with you, on the how in. It's not loads needs done. Like, clearly not. We're third in the fucking league. Of course, sorry, I swore there. I've said wouldn't swear.
It's fine, man. People switched off now, man. It's 54 minutes.
That's good then. But yes, we're not a million miles away from being, absolutely brilliant. But it's just the depth, and as I say, it's just going over all them competitions and all of them games. That's all it is, and also consistency is in performances. I said this to the lads on Saturday. Like, forget keeping people fit and people getting injured, right? Just for players to play consistently well over so many games. You're expecting Willett to play 45, 50 games well. It's tough, that, it's really tough. Like, you're asking players not only to stay fit and healthy, but to consistently play well. And that's also that can also be difficult. But I guess we're all going to find out together. So, but just happy to be there.
I'll end it on this one that is from Joseph Brook that says, I know that there's a lot, but what is your game of the season so far?
Oh, my.
I know it's just recent, but that's Spurs first half.
It's hard to overlook that, isn't it?
Oh,
it's really hard to overlook that.
It's between Man United at home in that one, but I think I've never seen football like that in the first 20 minutes since I've watched the club. So since I've supported the club, you know what I mean? I'll always say that the Man United 5-0 was probably the best game that I'd ever been to, but goodness me, that 20 minutes, man, was just ridiculous.
I keep on saying this, and I apologise to people that are regulars and listen to the podcast and match previews and reactions, but it's all about benchmarks of the season, and obviously coming up against Man United, who obviously we're battling with at the time. Obviously, we wanted to get a bit of payback because of the cup final result as well, and we've gone and done it. Then Spurs come along, we do that. It's those moments of the season you think, hang on, we're challenging here, like we really are.
100%. I tell you,
we're going toe-to-toe with them. Like,
I tell you one game that I'll always. And I know we didn't win it, right? But when we were was it 3-1 up against Man City at that time?
Yeah.
Goodness,
there's been a shout.
Goodness
there.
me.
So Dan Whitten says it wasn't a win, but Man City at home was such a statement, set the tone for the season.
Totally agree with that. That's my thought there as well. Great comment, that, because we're really matched. We took the game to them. No one does that to Man City. No one. They'll always sit back and all of it. We absolutely battered them, if I'm quite honest with you, like for a long period of that game.
Yeah.
But I think overall, you've probably got to give it to Spurs, haven't you? Just for what
I think so, yeah. Just for that opening 20 minutes.
Yeah. And what it meant at the time, because everyone was bigging up that this is the game for Champions League. It was the game, right? It was the match 6 point.
Trying to pile the pressure on us that we were going to bottle it, and then we just come up and we just absolutely blitz Spurs.
Just smashed them.
Honestly, there's been so many moments this season, both home and away, where I've just my face will be a pitch. I just absolutely gobsmacked at certain moments, and whether that's obviously getting to a final, and going to Wembley.
You kind of forget that as well, don't you? I must admit, I'm so obsessed with the Champions League and the chance of finishing in Europe.
Wembley.
And we've got to Wembley, and I forgot that, to be fair. So yeah, it's just been remarkable. It really, really has. The job that he has done, man, it's just unbelievable.
It's been a season so far full of just outrageous moments. I mean, I can look back at the list here and say Tottenham away, Tottenham at home, Leicester away on Boxing Day, 3-0 win.
Yeah.
There's been some amazing
Brentford
results
earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Well, you've been to an awful lot of away games as well this season.
How many been to this season, Daryl? Double figures, is it?
If we include Leeds, which is coming up, in Chelsea, last day of the season, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, including the games at Tranmere and
Daryl's got a job Wednesday. As well, believe it or not.
Including the games at Tranmere and Sheffield Wednesday in the Cups.
Amazing,
so it'll be 12 games this season.
He's got his little diary there, these green ticks.
I love it.
It's very organised. I love that.
Stats there, but no.
Oh, did he miss that? Oh my! Sorry, I apologise.
No, you're fine.
I apologise.
Once again, we're all watching.
But
Jesus, you need to watch this back.
When you talk about getting like revenge on Man United, that's not going to happen, is it?
I can't believe this is the score. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, but yeah. So you talk about getting revenge on Man United over for the cup final by beating them here. Just the one that sticks out for me is going back to Nottingham Forest after playing there in the Championship and under Rafa and exercising that demon of that game, where there was 2 horrendous red cards that were both rescinded after the game. And doing the job there and just exercising that demon from the City ground.
In terms of atmospheres, what's been the best away day this season for you? You've been to Ireland. So.
To be honest, West Ham was a phenomenal atmosphere down at what is a ground that is not a football ground, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it's so recent, but it sticks in the mind, is Everton last week. For the sheer fact of the story around Anthony Gordon and the way everything just panned out in the second half, and the fact that we just turned them over in the second half.
We have this sort of this real rivalry with them, don't we? I don't know how it's just happened, and I get it. And I thought the scenes at the end of the game looked really special between fans and the players. It looked amazing.
There was a real moment where there was a togetherness between both groups. And to be honest, I think when we play Leeds in just under a fortnight's time, that'll probably be the same. And I think whatever happens, that last game of the season at Stamford Bridge, I think that could be even more special again, depending. And I don't even think it really matters on the result. It's just going to be because it's the last game of what is just an absolutely amazing season.
Yeah.
And do you know what I'm looking forward to? And I would never normally say this because of the circumstances that we're in this season, is that I normally love that last home game of the season being on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I love that, obviously, Sunday, if it's the final one of the season as it ends. But it's been shifted to the Monday night now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's Leicester at home on the Monday night.
Right, yeah.
So St. James's Park, under the floodlights, obviously the floodlights will come on eventually, probably won't start them, but honestly, that's going to be special. When those lads are doing the lap of honour in St. James's Park for the last home game of the season, it's going to be special.
It's going to be really electric. You can already feel it now. The hairs on your arms are going to be stood up.
That Arsenal game at home, I always reference every week. I seem to come back to this game, but that last home game there, like the scenes before the game with the flags, still see playing Thunderstruck by AC/DC was an amazing moment as well. Don't know how, but it was. It just seemed to fit really well. In the end, when they got the big photo at the end, that was unbelievable, that game. And I think obviously it'll be very similar. This little Leicester's going to be, a monumental. It's going to be an unbelievable.
Champions League music ringing in the back.
My ringtone, my message tone a lot. Like everything's just going to be that tone.
He'll have to dig out a bit of status quo and get status quo rolling.
Unreal. Unreal.
Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Thanks if you are listening back to the audio as well. It means a lot to us. As always, if you just want to rate the audio on whatever platform you're listening to it, give it a 5-star rating. You would have seen the news late last week as well that we are moving. We are jumping away from 90-minute football and we are joining Sports Social. So we'll be part of their podcast network. So yeah, help us out a little bit. And like I said, rate the video 5-star rating. I believe we're only 15 subscribers away from 10,000 now. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll hit that 10,000 figure. And that's when you will get the Battle of the Goalkeeper video. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, boys. Thank you very much for joining me.
Been a pleasure.
And
always good.
We'll see you next week. Ta-ra.